Hello friends and family. I'm going to do a tour of my garden. I want to check the water also and show you a little bit about what happened to my seedlings. So last Saturday, Sunday, well, 2.5 days now, it's been raining off and on, and not just a nice mist or something. It's like heavy, light, no rain, sun come out. It's been crazy. So this morning I come out here, all my seedlings that were up against this wall flooded. So I took out everything that was still had plants somewhat growing, put them underneath my door there, dumped out my pans of water into my garden beds. All my tomato plants are gone. I mean, washed away or just dead from over water. Well, I do have a rain gauge. It's called a Folgers bucket. Let me show you. My daughter makes these also. Let me scan around here. If you want one of these, send me a comment or tweet me that you want one of these, or I'll give you the information. But my daughter and her family make those things. They're really awesome. They're spikes, barbed wire on a fence post, all overlooking my garden. Thank you, daughter. So anyways, my garden water bucket, Folgers bucket, is to the top. It's at least 5-inch bucket, so we got more than 5 inches of rain. Let me pan down here. Let me give you a little walk through of my garden. All my grandchildren said they want a video of my garden since they can't come over here every day. But I will tell you, this is all in my backyard. I still have some garden space left. I have trimmed up all the trees around my edge as high as I can get without being on a ladder. I still could get a pole saw, but I got everything that I can reach. So this bed right here, these first two beds, they're about 3 years old. And it's the concept of, I want to say, back to Eden type concept. It's rotten wood, lots of mulch, and lots of manure. And when I say manure, it's got chickens, manure, goat, duck, cow, pig, horse, and it's full of firewood, ash too. So that's what's in these two beds. Just right off every single bed that you see, every bucket in the back, everything to include up here my garlic in the front. Every single bed has wildflowers coming up. Purposely planted them. They all have garlic on the ends and every 3 foot on the sides. And then I've got 3 bins of garlic up front. So not only do I like garlic, but garlic seems to detract a lot of the nasty bugs. And all the flowers I chose are all purposely to get rid of some bugs. Didn't get all of them. As you'll see, like this one here. It's not devastated, but something's eating it, but nothing else around it. I don't use any non-organic chemicals of any kind. Matter of fact, the only thing that I use to get rid of bugs, other than nature's plants, is Domaceous Earth. Food safe Domaceous Earth. these wicker basket ideas. I was watching the Arms family, and he got it off of another concept gentleman. Leon, I think, is who it came from. Anyways, I stole his idea. I hope he doesn't get mad at me. But the concept of these beds is I got these buckets at Lowe's for $6. They're full of my garden soil mulch. Scan up here, and we'll take a better look at it later. They're full. Got that in there, and then I went to the dollar store, and I know Mr. Arms and his family uses the contractor's cover ground weed barrier stuff, but I got the dollar store has weed barrier. Now it's pretty thin, like paper thin, but I think just to experiment with the idea, and I did this when it was dry, and it works. So you put one hole in the bottom, about 5 inches up, with a 6-inch tube. Then you wrap this material around the tube so the dirt doesn't get into the tube area. Fill it full of dirt and garden soil, and then put your plants on there. Now, of course, this idea, I got these free. A couple blocks away, the whole creek line is full of these things, and I asked the gentleman if I could have some, and he said, take all you want, just don't leave a mess. So I took a lot. I've been splitting them up and using them as stakes. Let me show you this back idea. This is how much rain we've gotten in since Friday. So that's 8 to 10 inches deep. I got these posts for $1 at Lowe's. They were on some Friday special event. Couldn't beat it. I mean, $1 a post. They're 6 foot long, 6 inches wide. Well, actually, they're 5.5, but they're advertised 6 inches wide. The white tubes, I'm going to turn those into worm feeders. There's my daughter gave me these. They tore out their sewage line, and this is some leftover pipe that not leftover. They were pulled out, and still got to clean them out. There's still some sewage in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them into worm feeders. Let me scan around here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So these first two beds, every 6 feet, I've got a worm feeder. Let me walk up to this one. So they're 16 inches. We got 1/2-inch holes, 3 inches above the top, and they go all the way to the bottom. So I was thinking about doing smaller holes, but I want the worms to get as much. But this dirt, before it started raining, was all the way to the top, and that's how much this ground has settled. I'll do some videos on exactly how I built these beds and what's in them, but the cats are in my bed. Don't do nothing nasty over there. Let me walk all the way to the end, and I'll just give you a brief idea what's going on here. I got a lot of concepts I'm playing with just to keep gardening interesting, because I want to smile while I do this. So I got 8 beds here. They're called the Three Sisters. So the idea is you got a square pallet size for these 8 beds, Each bed has the following in them: 9 sweet corn, white, silver, Indian, black, and purple. So it's got 9 corn, 9 random bean or pea, and then 3 vine type crops. And when I mean vine type crops, I'm talking about cucumber, squash, watermelon, something of that nature. So what we did, me and my granddaughter, on all of these beds, these 3 sister beds, so we dug 8 to 10 inches down, filled them with rotten oak chips, put a mole barrier around the edge, and then we put, in these 4, we put the garden soil, and then the pallet, and then we filled the pallet, she filled the pallet with cow manure, horse manure, and garden soil, and then 6 inches above that. And then we planted the corn, the 3 sister format. That's what's in these beds. Oh, and you can see there's a lot more going on there than those items. So there's flowers also in there. Insect repellent type flowers. And edible too. So that's those 4 against the fence, so the pallet version. And then these 4 here are the pallet version, except for they don't have the wood chips in the bottom. They're just garden soil from 8 inches down all the way to the top. So the idea with the pallet, by the way, is to help the corn stalk not bend over a little bit, keep it a little more less stressful. Now these four are the square garden concept. The square garden concept is every square inch has some type of plant in it, either a flower, vegetable. So what I've done is I have main crops. As you can see, this bed, it's got 2 main crops in it, and then between the spaces are root type crops that will grow under or around the main crops. And those are also 6 to 8 inches down. The 2 on the end have rotten wood chips, and these 2 right here are just garden soil and manure from the bottom to the top. This aisle here, actually these next 2 aisles, are what I call the fish format, and they don't have wood raised bed sides. They're just regular normal dirt sides with the hay trying to protect the sides from getting too dry. But I do need to go redo that one. But anyways, the fish idea, what it is this row right here has rotten oak in the bottom, 6 to 8 inches. Then it's got dirt, garden soil, all the way to the top. And and when I say fish, above the rotten wood chips there's 5 catfish in this one, and 5 bass in this one. My daughter goes, they get their fish, they take all the meat, and then I get what's ever left over, and then those get put onto this one, the rotten wood chips, and this one here is just dirt, garden dirt and soil all the way from the bottom to the top. But check this out. These things grew, I want to say, pretty much overnight. Google says that they are disappearing mushrooms. Oh, check this out. I got a mushroom on top of a mushroom. Two mushrooms in the same spot. I got eggplants. And then I got tomatoes on the end.